The world's greatest cities have always been built around work. From the factories of the industrial age to the skyscrapers of the financial era, our urban landscapes mirror the way we create value. But today, artificial intelligence is reshaping not only how we work, but also where and why. The real question is not just about automation, but about the reinvention of human potential and the evolution of the spaces we inhabit. Cities have always been reflections of the technologies that define their age. In the industrial era, the factory was the anchor, drawing workers into dense neighborhoods and setting the rhythm of life around shifts and machines. In the modern financial age, skyscrapers became the symbols of power, embodying the centralization of wealth and decision-making. But today, as artificial intelligence permeates every aspect of our existence, cities are beginning to function less like static environments and more like living, breathing systems. They are turning into what could be described as living algorithms, constantly processing data, adapting in real time, and reshaping themselves to anticipate human needs. This is not a futuristic dream, it is happening all around us. Consider how traffic once required human operators or rigid programmed lights. Now, with AI-powered sensors and predictive models, entire road networks adjust dynamically to flows of vehicles and pedestrians. Congestion is no longer something simply endured, it is something that can be managed in real time by a city that learns, that anticipates, that evolves. The same principle extends far beyond traffic. Power grids no longer simply distribute energy, they predict demand surges before they happen, rerouting resources and balancing loads intelligently. Public transportation adapts routes based on patterns of movement, ensuring efficiency while reducing waste. Even waste management itself is becoming data-driven, with AI optimizing collection schedules and recycling systems. The true transformation lies in the invisible infrastructure, the billions of signals captured from devices, cameras, sensors, and user behaviors. These are fed into neural networks and machine learning systems that treat the city not as a collection of fixed objects, but as a fluid organism. It is no exaggeration to say that the city of the future will be less about bricks and steel and more about code and computation. This shift changes how we should think about urban design. Instead of static master plans, cities become platforms, frameworks for adaptive, intelligent systems that evolve continuously. The planners of tomorrow are less architects in the traditional sense and more designers of dynamic systems, ensuring that algorithms work in service of human needs rather than just technical efficiency. There is also a profound cultural impact. When a city becomes an intelligent system, the relationship between citizen and environment changes. We no longer inhabit spaces passively, we interact with them actively, sometimes without even realizing it. Every time a smartphone signals location, every time a connected vehicle navigates a route, every time a smart building optimizes its temperature, we are co-creating the city's intelligence. In effect, citizens become data nodes, participants in a vast, collective neural network that raises both opportunities and challenges. On one hand, it allows for unprecedented personalization of urban experiences, streets that light themselves for safety, services that appear before they are needed, spaces that respond to human presence. On the other hand, it raises questions about privacy, transparency, and who ultimately controls the algorithms shaping our daily lives. If cities are to become living algorithms, they must not only think but also care. They must embed ethics into their intelligence, ensuring that optimization does not come at the cost of trust. The future city is not just efficient, it is humane. It learns, it adapts, it anticipates, but above all, it serves the people who call it home. For centuries, work was tethered to place. Factories defined neighborhoods, offices filled skyscrapers, and daily commutes became rituals shaping not just individual lives, but entire urban landscapes. The very skyline of a city told the story of labor, towers of finance, districts of manufacturing, and clusters of commerce. But the age of artificial intelligence has begun to dissolve those boundaries. Work is no longer defined by where you sit, but by how you contribute, and AI is the invisible force accelerating this decoupling of labor from location. The pandemic revealed just how much of our productivity could survive outside of the office walls. What began as an emergency adaptation has now become an enduring shift, with AI weaving intelligence across distributed networks of people, processes, and platforms. In this new reality, cities no longer concentrate value solely in physical hubs. Instead, their strength lies in how they enable connection. A worker may be sitting in a cafe, at home, or halfway across the globe, yet they are able to contribute seamlessly to a global workflow. AI systems handle the orchestration of this distributed collaboration, managing data flows, automating repetitive coordination, and enabling human teams to focus on the creative and strategic aspects of their work. This means that the geography of work has flattened. A great idea in one corner of the world can be instantly integrated into a project in another without the friction of time zones or physical presence. Yet this shift does not make cities obsolete. In fact, it redefines their purpose. Instead of being rigid centers of employment, cities become dynamic ecosystems of experience. They no longer exist primarily to house workplaces, but to inspire, nurture, and connect talent. Public spaces transform into creative arenas where ideas can be exchanged, while homes become micro-offices, augmented by AI assistants and collaboration tools. The city of the future is not defined by office towers, but by the seamless blending of digital and physical environments. It is not about being present in a location, but about being present in a network. The implications for human life are profound. Freed from the tyranny of the daily commute, workers can design lives around meaning rather than geography. They can choose proximity to family, community, or natural beauty without sacrificing access to opportunity. Cities, in turn, must evolve to attract not just companies, but individuals. Quality of life, sustainability, cultural vibrancy, and digital infrastructure become the competitive advantages of the urban era. A city that cannot provide these will lose talent to those that can. This transition also demands a shift in mindset from employers and institutions. Measuring productivity by hours spent in a building becomes obsolete. Instead, success is measured by outcomes, creativity, and impact. AI plays the role of the silent coordinator, making distributed work possible, but humans redefine what work means when unshackled from physical constraints. The walls of the office may have disappeared, but in their place emerges a new architecture of collaboration. Boundless, adaptive, and deeply human, when people think of artificial intelligence, the first reaction is often fear of replacement, of jobs disappearing, of human effort being rendered obsolete by machines that can calculate faster, process more data, and never tire. But this perspective overlooks a deeper truth. AI is not the end of human work, it is the end of routine work. What automation really does is clear away the repetitive, predictable, and mechanical tasks that once consumed human time, freeing us to focus on the abilities that make us distinctly human. These are not the so-called soft skills. They are the hardest, most valuable skills of all: creativity, empathy, judgment, imagination, adaptability. They are precisely the qualities machines cannot replicate, and in the future of work, they will become the new foundation of value. Think of an architect working with generative design systems. Instead of sketching hundreds of possibilities by hand, the architect can prompt an AI to explore thousands of variations instantly, testing for structural integrity, environmental sustainability, and cost efficiency. The architect's role is not diminished, but elevated. Freed from the repetitive mechanics of drafting, they can now focus on vision, aesthetics, and human experience. The partnership between human intuition and machine computation produces outcomes neither could achieve alone. The same dynamic is already emerging in healthcare. AI can scan medical images, detect anomalies, and predict conditions with incredible accuracy. But a diagnosis is not just about identifying a pattern, it is about understanding the patient, their fears, their family context, their hopes. The role of a doctor becomes less about detection and more about interpretation, empathy, and guidance. AI extends capability, but it is the human who brings meaning. In education, intelligent tutors can adapt lessons to the pace and style of individual learners, but it is the teacher who provides inspiration, encouragement, and the spark that ignites lifelong curiosity. This shift has profound implications for how we train the next generation of workers. For decades, education has been built on teaching rules, procedures, and fixed knowledge, precisely the kinds of tasks AI now excels at. The skills we must nurture, instead, are those that allow people to navigate ambiguity, to connect ideas across domains, to collaborate with others, and to imagine futures that do not yet exist. The city of tomorrow will thrive not because its citizens know how to follow instructions, but because they know how to ask better questions. It is easy to underestimate just how deeply this human-machine partnership will transform professional identity. Work is not just about income, it is about purpose, contribution, and pride. AI does not strip that away, it redefines it. When machines handle the routine, humans are invited to step into roles of greater responsibility, creativity, and leadership. Far from making us redundant, AI forces us to rediscover what it truly means to be human. And in that rediscovery lies the real value of work in the age of intelligent cities. For most of history, education was treated as a front-loaded phase of life. You went to school, earned a degree, and then entered a career that remained stable for decades. That model was built for a world where industries changed slowly and skills could last a lifetime. But in an age where AI can rewrite the rules of entire professions in months, that old rhythm no longer works. The future demands that learning become continuous, embedded into the very fabric of daily life, and cities will be at the heart of this transformation. Instead of static campuses isolated from the flow of work, urban environments themselves will become living classrooms, spaces where education and labor merge into a seamless cycle of growth. Artificial intelligence accelerates this evolution by personalizing knowledge in ways traditional systems never could. Rather than standardized curricula designed for the average learner, AI tutors can adapt content to the unique needs, pace, and context of each individual. Imagine a young professional walking to a meeting while an AI system, integrated into their augmented reality glasses, provides a real-time briefing on market trends, negotiation strategies, and even the personality profiles of the people they are about to meet. Learning is no longer separated from doing, it is embedded directly into the flow of work. Cities, as hubs of activity, become the perfect platforms for this kind of adaptive learning. Every interaction, every workplace, every public space can double as an opportunity to acquire new knowledge. Museums transform into interactive labs powered by AI guides. Transportation hubs deliver micro lessons during commutes, and workplaces evolve into training grounds where employees continuously upskill as part of their daily responsibilities. A city designed in this way blurs the lines between living, learning, and working, creating an environment where curiosity is rewarded and growth becomes a natural state. This shift also changes how we measure education. Instead of degrees that expire, people carry portfolios of skills that update in real time, reflecting the evolving demands of industries and societies. Employers no longer hire based only on past certifications, but on demonstrated adaptability and the ability to learn quickly. AI plays the role of mentor, advisor, and coach, helping people identify gaps, discover opportunities, and pursue new directions with confidence. The cultural impact is equally significant. A society that embraces lifelong learning is more resilient, more innovative, and more inclusive. It ensures that no one is locked out of opportunity simply because they missed a window earlier in life. It allows individuals to reinvent themselves multiple times, adapting to new roles as industries evolve. And it transforms cities from being just centers of commerce into engines of human potential. The cities of the future will not be remembered only for their skylines or infrastructure, but for how they nurture talent. When learning is no longer confined to classrooms, but woven into the pulse of urban life, citizens are empowered to thrive in a world where change is the only constant. The promise of AI-powered cities is immense efficiency, productivity, and innovation on a scale previously unimaginable. But technology alone cannot define the success of a city. Without careful attention to equity and inclusion, the benefits of AI risk being concentrated in the hands of a few, deepening social divides rather than bridging them. As cities evolve into intelligent, data-driven systems, the challenge is not simply technical, it is fundamentally ethical. Who has access to these technologies? Who benefits from AI-enhanced productivity? And who is left behind? If these questions are ignored, The city of the future could become a place of exclusion rather than opportunity. Equity in AI cities begins with access. Digital infrastructure must be universal, ensuring that all residents, regardless of income, geography, or background, can participate fully in the opportunities that AI creates. High-speed internet, smart public services, and accessible learning platforms are not luxuries, they are the foundational tools for social inclusion. Without these, talent is wasted, potential is stifled, and the promise of intelligent urban living becomes hollow. Cities that succeed will be those that actively close these gaps, making technology a bridge rather than a barrier. But access alone is not enough. AI systems themselves must be designed with fairness in mind. Algorithms often reflect the biases of the data they are trained on. If left unchecked, they can perpetuate inequality, reinforcing patterns of discrimination in hiring, policing, healthcare, and public services. To create inclusive cities, transparency and accountability in AI design are essential. Citizens must understand how decisions are made, and there must be mechanisms to correct mistakes or biases. When AI is held to ethical standards, it becomes a tool for empowerment rather than oppression. Furthermore, inclusion in the future city extends beyond technology to opportunity. AI will reshape labor markets, automating routine tasks and creating new roles in emerging sectors. Cities must actively ensure that all residents have the chance to participate in this evolving economy. Training programs, reskilling initiatives, and mentorship networks must be accessible to everyone, not just those already advantaged. Equity means creating pathways for all citizens to thrive, ensuring that technological progress translates into social mobility rather than reinforcing existing hierarchies. The cultural dimension of inclusion is equally vital. AI-enabled cities can foster civic engagement, amplifying diverse voices and enabling communities to co-create solutions. Public forums, participatory planning, and intelligent platforms for citizen feedback allow people to influence the systems that shape their lives. Inclusion is not just about equal access to resources, it is about ensuring that all citizens have agency in shaping the future of their city. Ultimately, the measure of a city's success will not be its efficiency or technological sophistication, but the extent to which it lifts every resident. AI can accelerate progress, but only through deliberate choices that prioritize fairness, representation, and shared prosperity. A truly intelligent city is one where opportunity is not a privilege, but a right, and where every resident has the tools and support to thrive in the age of AI. When inclusion is embedded into the DNA of the city, technology becomes a force for human empowerment rather than division. Every major technological revolution in history has rewritten the social contract, the implicit understanding between workers, employers, and society. The Industrial Revolution created labor laws, public education, and social welfare systems to manage the upheaval caused by mechanization. The Digital Revolution reshaped knowledge work and introduced new forms of global collaboration. Now, with artificial intelligence transforming work and cities at an unprecedented pace, we are once again at a crossroads. The future of cities and work will not be defined solely by the sophistication of our algorithms or the efficiency of our infrastructure. It will be defined by the choices we make about fairness, purpose, and shared prosperity. The new social contract that governs our collective life. AI challenges traditional notions of work, wealth, and identity. Routine tasks are automated, entire professions are being reimagined, and productivity gains are no longer directly tied to human effort. This requires a reevaluation of how society distributes value. How do we ensure that the wealth generated by intelligent systems benefits not just corporations and shareholders, but the people whose lives are affected by these transformations? A new social contract must address these questions, balancing automation with human dignity and ensuring that everyone has access to meaningful work, fair compensation, and opportunities for growth. Cities are central to this reimagining. They are the laboratories where new policies, social programs, and economic models can be tested. Urban governments can shape the future of work by supporting reskilling initiatives, incentivizing ethical AI practices, and ensuring that infrastructure investments prioritize inclusivity and sustainability. The social contract is no longer an abstract principle. It is enacted through the streets, schools, workplaces, and public spaces of the city. Cities that embrace this responsibility will become magnets for talent, creativity, and innovation, while those that ignore it risk social unrest, inequality, and stagnation. The new social contract also redefines the relationship between humans and machines. Work will increasingly involve collaboration with AI systems, and success will depend not only on technical skill, but on adaptability, empathy, and ethical judgment. As machines handle routine tasks, humans are free to focus on what machines cannot do: solve complex problems, innovate, and create meaningful connections. This reorientation requires organizations and policymakers to prioritize lifelong learning, mentorship, and personal development, embedding these principles into the structures of work and city life. Finally, the social contract is about purpose and belonging. A thriving city ensures that citizens feel valued, empowered, and connected. AI should enhance human potential rather than diminish it, enabling people to contribute in ways that align with their passions and talents. When technology, policy, and community work together, cities become ecosystems where innovation and inclusion coexist, where progress is measured not just in economic terms, but in quality of life, opportunity, and human flourishing. The choice before us is clear. AI will transform cities and work, whether we intervene or not. But the kind of future we build, the balance between automation and human dignity, the distribution of opportunity, the integration of ethics into technology, depends on the social contract we are willing to create. Cities that succeed will not just be smart, they will be just compassionate and empowering. In designing the future of work and cities, we are designing the future of society itself.